What's going on, guys? You are locked into Trending with Nay, and I think it's only right today that I say welcome to the boardroom. I'm joined by another former cast of the amazing Apprentice, the wonderful Raj Chohan.
Thank you very much for having me.
Welcome to our boardroom. How are you feeling?
Feeling really excited. I wanted to come to BritAsia for a long time, so thank you very much for having me.
Oh, it's amazing that I've made that come true for you. Okay, so obviously we'll talk about The Apprentice.
Yes.
But we want to get to know you, the woman behind The Apprentice, right? There's so much to talk about with you. So let's talk about the start of your journey, because we were speaking earlier. You got married at a really young age. So let's talk about, growing up, childhood, and then how you became this amazing woman in business.
Oh, well, thank you very much for that little compliment. So I'm born and bred in Birmingham, so just round the corner.
One of us.
Yeah, I'm a born Brummie. I went to school to Handsworth. I went to school in Handsworth Grammar. Went off to university, and then Mum and Dad said it's time to get married. And I was like, ooh. And I was like, okay, let's do this. And we started looking at some of the guys. I met you, Raj, fantastic. And then 9 months later, we were married. And then we'll roll on nearly 19 years, and got 2 children. Amrit's with us here. But one thing I would say is during my journey, I've been a family woman. Mm-hmm. I've always been very driven in my career. Mm-hmm. I never knew exactly what it wanted to look like, but I enjoyed the journey. Mm-hmm. And it's just one foot in front of the other. And I'm really glad that some of the difficult choices I made through my career, I made them because I am here now. Mm-hmm. Had the opportunity to be on The Apprentice, and now do fantastic interviews like this now.
Yes, amazing. So I think South Asians in general, we're very pushed to do well in our education, and academically we're really pushed, whether that's by our families or at school as well. But I think also for women, it's very much, okay, you need to get married now, as you already know, right?
Yeah.
So for you, did you think, okay, I want to own my own businesses, this is what I want to get to? Or was that something that was just never in your scope? You had never even considered it?
I think it was there. I didn't realise I didn't understand how that unfolded at the time. Mm-hmm. But I worked in our family business from a young age. So I worked in my mum and dad's shop from the age of 9. Yeah. If I wanted to spend time with parents, the best place was to go to work. So I was serving customers, standing on a little milk crate. Mm. I used to unwrap the newspapers, put them out. Used to go to cash carry with my dad. So I got that feeling of working for myself, and that graft of working for yourself on your own terms was quite nice. And then while I was studying at uni, I was working at Sainsbury's. Fantastic experience. And then even that, I worked in small departments where I ran it my way. Yeah. And I was able to do that, which I really enjoyed. Then I came out of uni and then worked for Barclays. Brilliant. The best experience I've got ready for the real world. Mm-hmm. But I realised I can't work for somebody.
Yeah.
I need to work for myself. And I think that became more paramount after I'd finished my education. Mm-hmm. So I don't think I can do this. So I was really good at sales. Within 6 months of joining Barclays, I went on to becoming the best saleswoman in the whole of the West Midlands area. So I was like, I must be really good at this. And then the natural progression from that was going to management. Mm-hmm. I went into management and I absolutely hated it. Oh my God, it sucked all the fun out of it. And I realised that, you know what, for me to thrive, I need to enjoy what I do, and I need to have fun. And this, you may have heard on The Apprentice, fun. But I do believe if you're having fun in work, you'll always do really well. And then I thought, okay, so I'm really good at sales. How do I make this a little bit more professional? And I thought, mortgage broker. So then I started doing my preparation, my exams for mortgage broking. Then I became pregnant with my son, had him. 3 months later, I was then pregnant with my daughter, had her. Within that period, I managed to become qualified. And that was the start of the journey, becoming a mortgage broker.
Wow.
So I've got my years of experience, and we had a credit crunch. So then had to come out of the credit crunch. The business wasn't there. Mm-hmm. I then went to start a new business for tutoring. Mm-hmm. So I became maths and English tutor.
Wow.
I was the fastest growing centre within 6 months. And this 6 months, it seems to be my magic number. Fastest growing centre, then doing really well in that. But then the market picked up for mortgages, and I was like, you know what, I really like that. Dabbled into that, started doing really well, but then I was running these 2 really successful businesses with 2 kids under 3 years old. I thought, this is really hard.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so my husband was like, you can do it. I was like, yeah, I am doing it, but I'm really stretched. I don't think I can do this very long. So he said, oh, unless you can sell it for a good price, I don't want you to let it go. I was like, oh, okay, right, I'm going to sell this at a really good price. I went off to the franchisee and I said, like, this is what I want to sell it for. And they were like, people have had double the size centre as yours. Yeah. They haven't even sold it for even a third of what you want to sell it for. I was like, yeah, because they're not salespeople. I will sell mine. I just need you to support it. And they were like, okay, yeah, you do it. And I sold mine. And that then led on to doing a development. It's just been an amazing journey. So I felt like I've thrived and grown.
You're just the woman that makes it happen, I feel.
It's one of those things. But I think for me, there's something in me, and I was actually speaking to my husband about it this morning. I'm not very fearful. And I think that's almost like something that I've been maybe blessed with. I'm not scared. Yeah. And I think sometimes fear can get the better of you. Anything I've done, anybody can do. I've not done anything miraculous. But because I'm not scared to take that step has been almost my lucky charm, really.
Yeah. So you've mentioned your husband a few times.
Yeah.
I just want to touch on the importance of having a supportive partner.
Absolutely.
Because I think we've all probably seen so many instances where women kind of just fall into the role of the wife and they lose part of themselves, whereas it seems like your husband has pushed you and been like, I got you, do what you got to do.
Yeah, definitely. And the other, there's 2 parts to this. We had goals, and our goals had to be aligned. And we need to both work in it. So whereas my husband's been really supportive in what I've done, I've been really supportive in what he was doing as well. And we've been basically, as long as we're working towards the goal, whatever the path is to get there, we're going to both support it. But with that also comes with great in-laws and parents as well. So especially those early 7-8 years, we couldn't have done it without my in-laws. They were there looking after the kids, picking the kids up. They were taking a lot of... We were just joking about it earlier about what do you make every night. Yeah. Just 3-4 nights, they had already prepped that meal, and then our meals were cooked as well, honestly. And I do think it's the family structure that brings it together. Yeah. Because then the pressure wasn't on me, the pressure wasn't on you, Raj. The kids were being looked after. And as a team, collectively, we're all growing together. And I think that was a key part.
How do you balance it, especially in the early years where you had these 2 successful businesses, 2 young children? How do you balance motherhood with then being a successful businesswoman also?
I think it is hard. I would love to say I sat and cried, but I'm not one of those people. And actually, I think that's a normal process to go through, to get upset. But I definitely doubted myself. I definitely had my doubting moments. But what I do know is I bury my head in the sand. So when things get a bit tough, I try and just ignore it and hope it goes away. Then it hits me in the face and it's like, no, you've got to deal with me. And then you just learn to navigate your way through. And I think if your drive and your goal is quite clear, you just understand you've just got to do what you have to do to get there. So if I had to summarize the year, that would be really hard. But when you do it day to day, you just know that, okay, I've got to get my kids to bed. I've got to get them showered. I've got to get them fed. I've got to do my housework, but I've also got to work. I'd say there was about a good 5 years after that credit crunch. Raj and I were both mortgage brokers at the time. We both lost our jobs and we had to start again. We both started up brand new businesses. I did it as a Kumon instructor, and he started a lettings business. He bought a £250 manual, which now he's got a really successful lettings business in our town. We just had to align it, and we just knew what we had to do. So it would be like, okay, I'll sort out the kitchen, you go and put the kids to bed, and then he would fall asleep and I'll be like, wake up. And he would wake up and then we'd come back down, and then we used to put in 4 hours work. And so I'd probably say for about a good 3 years, probably only slept 4 hours a night. But sometimes it is the sacrifice you have to make. I'm not saying people should do that, but it's those sacrifices that have helped us grow to where we've got to.
Okay, so then we are going to touch back on this. But now, okay, so I feel like this year's Apprentice, you guys have been the most active on social media, right? And I would say the official anthem of The Apprentice has been a very, very famous Punjabi song.
Yeah.
And I feel like you guys have blasted that everywhere.
I haven't actually that much.
You're all involved. We've all seen it.
Okay, I've done it for you.
Paul, bless him, like he's still learning the lyrics. I feel like he chews the words.
I think Phil's polished them off.
Yes,
I think
yeah.
Phil needs to teach Paul.
100%. Let's talk about The Apprentice, because some people, like, for example, let's say Verdi. He had written a tweet and atted Lord Sugar, and so he had this clear vision that one day he's going to be on The Apprentice. Did you have anything similar, or was this one of those where you just got the opportunity and grasped it? What was the journey? Talk us through the whole thing.
I've manifested probably 85% of the things that have happened in my life.
Yeah.
Even doing interviews like this, I've manifested this moment. I think he's got the art of manifestation. I think I managed to really get mine on point, and mine was actually an interesting story.
Go on.
So I've watched The Apprentice right from the beginning. I've loved it. I would have always wanted to be on it. Never manifested it, but every year I just thought, if only. But first he was being Lord Sugar's being Lord Sugar's apprentice, so working for him. That was never going to happen. I just got married and then had 2 little kids. And then 6 years later, it changed to having a business. I was like, no, I've got nothing really to offer.
Yeah.
Didn't think about it. And then a couple of years ago, Amra asked me, my younger daughter, she said, Mummy, if there was anybody you could meet in the world, who would it be? And I think she was expecting me to say like Rihanna or Beyonce. And I mean, Lord Sugar. And she was like, oh my God, you're really weird, you are. She goes, and anyway,
you could meet anyone, but it'd be Lord Sugar.
Her AirPods went in, she just rolled her eyes, thought she was a bit weird. Anyway, that just played on my mind, and I was there thinking, right, if I actually said Rihanna or Beyonce, what would I do? I'd buy tickets and go to the concert. How do I meet Lord Sugar? He's 75 years old. How am I ever going to meet him? I need to get on The Apprentice.
Yes.
I was like, I'm going on The Apprentice. And then I tell these guys, they're like, oh my God, you're not going on The Apprentice. And you're just like, you got 2 kids. They're all young people. And I was like, I'm young. And you just mad about the kids. No one needs to know about them. And here I am, been on The Apprentice.
She went and done it. So when you left, because how long were you filming for?
We filmed in total, you're filming for about 10, 11 weeks.
So being away from your family, how was that?
That was really hard. I knew I was prepared for it, but I think it's that lack of contact. So knowing I was going to be away from them was okay part, but the fact that I couldn't just pick up my phone and text them, or they couldn't just text me, I think it's more the fact that they couldn't contact me was really hard. So I think I went through this stage at the beginning was climatizing to the environment, and I did struggle. I'm not joking. It took me a good 5 days, and I was like having this bit of a breakdown in the Apprentice house, like these tears that I've never had in 25, 30 years, and they're all streaming out. But then I got my rebalance, and I felt like I just needed to climatize. And I don't think it was being away from home. It was, again, we had no access to our phones, no TV, no radio, living with a bunch of people. All these new people were it was like a pressure cooker environment as well. We're all competing. So although we're friends, we weren't friends at that point, but we are competing. You don't trust anyone at those early days. But then as the weeks went on, in some ways it got harder, in some ways it got easier. I did tell the kids afterwards, like, after I got past, I'd been away for about 4 weeks, I actually didn't want to speak to them. Because what happened was, my heart I'd just have these butterflies. I'm going to speak to them. Then I'd speak to them and try not to cry throughout the call, because it was only a 10-minute call. And then you'd come out really excited, and you'd be telling the family, I saw Garam, I saw Amra, I spoke to Raj, spoke to my parents. And then you go on a downer again, and then you're picking yourself back up. Whereas if I just continued in this bubble, it was easier. But actually, every time I spoke to them, it'd just take me back to
square one.
Where I was. It was really tough. And I speak to Paul and I say, I know it's tough for everyone, but I said, I don't know. I don't want to sound like I'm being biased, but I think it is tougher for parents. Yeah. Because, your kids rely on, their world is based on you. It was really tough. No regrets. Yeah. No regrets, 100%. But it was really tough.
So, what was the moment like for you? Because you manifested it, meeting Lord Sugar. So was it like a pinch me moment? Like, oh my God, there he is. This man that was like the one person that I ever wanted to meet.
Yeah, so basically, when we were in that, you probably see at the beginning of The Apprentice, we're going to sit in the, we'll drop our suitcases off, pass the business plan over. I was fine, I did that, and then I went and sat in the sofa, and then everybody's sitting there, and you can see everyone's a bit nervous, and I was there looking at my competition, and look who's coming in.
Sussing them out.
Sussing them out. And they hear Lord Sugar's voice. Forget the competition. I was like, I kept hearing his voice, and then I could hear Karen's. I was getting really excited. Everyone's looking at me, and all the other candidates looking at me, thinking, "Is she all right?" And then one of the production guys had to come out and go, "Raj, you have to play it cool now. You've got to play it cool."
You're not there as a fan, yeah?
Yeah, you're not there. You're in the show now. And I was like, and then I could hear Lord Sugar's voice. And when I went in, honestly, my knees had gone. I could not believe Lord Sugar was sitting in front of me, and Karen as well.
Funny.
Karen was stunning.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at them thinking, oh my God, these are real people. It's like a pinch me moment.
Yeah.
And for me as well, the weirdest thing is, I've never got really starstruck as such. Like, I know some people would faint if they saw somebody. I really wouldn't. It'd be real. It's really lovely to see people, but I was starstruck seeing Lord Sugar. And then his voice, and then when he spoke to me, I was like, he knows who I am. He just said my name. Honestly, it was amazing. And then we came back to when we came back to the boardroom after week 1, then I was a mental mess after the chaos that happened in the kitchen. So yeah, it was a different experience. But no, honestly, absolute honour. Dream come true.
Oh, that's amazing. That is one of the best stories I've heard, because I've never known anyone that said, like, I'm going to get starstruck from Lord Sugar. That's hilarious. So who were you allowed to tell? So obviously your kids knew, your parents knew, your husband knew. Was that it? Like, what was the process there? Were you allowed to tell people?
Okay. So you're supposed to have a circle of trust of 3 people. So I was like, oh, it's really hard for me to have 3 people. So Flo used to make funny jokes that said, it's like Raj's village knows. Yeah. So my circle of trust on one was you, Raj, and the kids. And they were like, you've told your kids? I was like, yeah. And they were like, you shouldn't have told your kids. I was like, my kids are sharper than anybody else.
Yeah.
They'll know if I've gone on The Apprentice. So it was you, Raj, and the kids on one. And then my mother-in-law and my father-in-law on the other. And then my mum and dad. So basically, they were like, you've got 7 on a circle of trust of 3. I was like, that's just how they come. They were like, all right, that's fine.
Do they know what Punjabi families are like?
Exactly. And then obviously I'm not going to say too much about who I told. Maybe they guessed. But then I've got 3 sisters, 1 sister-in-law, and their husbands, and their kids.
So you had like 10 circles of trust going on.
I'm not going to say too much, but anyway, it never got leaked. That's the main
Good.
thing.
So it was all people you trusted.
All the people.
It was just a big circle.
It was just trust. It was my circle of trust, just a little bit bigger than their circle of trust.
I love it. So, of course, these people that you're with are your competition, but you do form friendships, like we all know that. So how did you balance that? Was it ever awkward? Did you ever kind of like, you're in the house with each other, then you're going to go off and compete. How did you balance that?
I think because I'm a little bit older and I've got more experience of business, I think I was okay in the fact that I knew how I wanted to conduct myself. I knew my moral compass. I knew what I wasn't willing to do. I could fast forward also a year and know that if I say something now, it may get edited. So I was very careful of the thing. Well, some of the things I didn't think very carefully about what I said. Some of the silly things I said, but in offensive ways. I want to be competitive, but I think there was a moment when Felicia and I, right at the beginning, we spent a lot of time working together. And one of the things that we were talking about, it's not about dimming out other people's lights. It's about shining brighter. And I think that's probably the best way to put it. And that's the analogy I went in. It wasn't a case of, I'm going to shut down this person. If they need to be called out, we'll call it out. But it's about saying, actually, this is where I've excelled at. These are the great things I've done. If anyone tries to dim my light, then I'll come at them. Yeah. But as long as they don't do that to me, they're okay. So I was okay. I think we're quite lucky as well. The group of candidates we were in, I think I'd probably say the maturity level was quite high, even though we were young people. And whatever happened in the boardroom, we didn't generally bring it back. There were a few instances when some of it became a bit personal and brought back to the house. But generally, the boardroom was left as a boardroom because we were a family in itself. We were all going through the same struggles. So we needed each other's love. So that's why people say it's really weird. Like, you all argue in the boardroom, and then you find out you've won, you're hugging each other outside. It's just a battleground. We have to all remind ourselves, and this is what I always used to try and, some of the candidates struggled with it, and I always said, look, it's not personal. Before we came to this process, none of us knew each other.
Exactly.
Everyone wants to get as far as they can throughout the process, trying to take it personally, and that's the best way. But sometimes it just became personal, but I think we're a great bunch.
Amazing. And you guys, some of you have stayed friends.
Yeah, I'm really good friends with everybody, I'd probably say. Really close. I've got such a lovely relationship with everybody. And I think, like, the dreaded word, I think I became a lot of people's mum in the house. And I think it was because I didn't have my kids. I think I felt like I needed to share that
side
love.
of you, yeah.
And so, like, the girls, if they want to watch films and stuff downstairs, like later on they would let us watch TV in the cinema room. I didn't really want to do that. So I'd be like, look, girls, I'll do all your bedding. So I used to wash everyone's beddings and towels, fold them up and put them on their beds. I didn't make their beds, but I'd pop it back on their beds for them. And I'd just vacuum and just tidy. Because, see, on your day off, it's a really nice day to relax. But when you can't do much and you can't leave the house, there's a lot of time on your hands as well.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I think I took mummy role there.
This year's cast, I feel, was very diverse. Not to be controversial, but do we ever feel that this is kind of just a checklist now for the media, the kind of time we're living in? Do you ever feel like diversity is performative?
No, I disagree with that because I've been watching The Apprentice for a long time. This range of candidates has always been there. You've always had, like, half of them are Caucasian in the boys and the girls, and then you've got different ethnicities. I think this year we didn't have, like, mixed race, Chinese, and I think that's why it seemed so heavy on the South Asians, I think. Yeah. And then there was me, Verdi and Paul, 3 Sikhs, Punjabi, and then Amina and Asif for Punjabi as well. I just think
that's how it kind of turned out happening.
It turned out like that, but I don't think it's tick box exercise. Somebody did ask me as well, do you think you were discriminated in any way? Not at all. One of the things I would say is when we were in that house as well, people were like, did you warm to certain people differently? I said, when we were in there, I didn't see colour, I didn't see race, I didn't see class. You know what? We all were just different people. Like, I didn't even notice people's accents anymore. It was just their voices. So that was quite beautiful, actually. That actually take us out of that, now putting us in our social environments, you could see more of who we are. But when we're in that house, we were just 18 candidates. Yeah. And that was it. And we were just individuals.
Amazing. So, like I mentioned earlier, you guys have been very active on social media. And I think this is the first set of Apprentice casts that I've seen that are so heavy on their marketing and socials. Was that something that was expected of you? Or again, is that something that just kind of ended up happening because of the social age we're living in now?
I think it's a combination of both. I think everyone's been quite proactive. I haven't been as proactive as other people. Again, it's that same thing of where I am in my life, what it would mean, how the effects would be on my family. And I've got to just weigh it all up and weigh up for my business, how much to do and how effective is it. So I have put a few TikToks up there, but, you know, I'm not a TikToker person. Instagram's more me. I think LinkedIn's very professional, but LinkedIn doesn't really work for me. I think Instagram is quite safe for me. And I think the world we live in now, if you were on The Apprentice 2-3 years ago, social media presence was there, but not so heavy because there's so much content and people, so many avenues of people getting recognised, TV, radio, everything's really fast paced. So if you were on TV 3 years ago, you probably didn't need to post much and you'd be remembered. And the day and age we're in now, you've forgotten really quickly. So this, when I was talking to you, I'm enjoying my 2 months of fame because people forget about me. And that's okay as well. And I'm actually realistic about it. But enjoy the moment. And those people that have got business and they want a platform, this is their time. This is their window of opportunity to get their name out of there. Sometimes you do need to tell them in business. It's just building your personal brand, your personal profile for people to know. So I think it is the way forward. And you know what? We might see next year the candidates may change it up a little bit further.
We don't know. There could be another TikTok on the market. Like, who knows?
Absolutely.
So post-Apprentice, obviously now everyone knows who you are. What was the response like, especially from the South Asian community?
It's been so... I'm so humbled. I actually want to cry because it's just so beautiful. Like, people say my name. It's really funny because my home name is Raji. And people call me Raj, but I prefer being called Raj. So most of my work people call me Raj. And like, people would just call me Raj, and I know instantly it's because of The Apprentice. Yeah. And they'll come up and just hug me. And now I know like what I must do to when I see other people that are a bit famous, and I just chuck my arms around them and they're probably thinking what's going on. But actually, it's so lovely that they approach me. They're not nervous. And they do say hello because they're probably apprehensive. They don't know how I'm going to respond. And such kind words, positive words. And people are saying that I'm like, it's great that I was represented, but when I went in, I didn't think I was representing anything. I just went in for myself. But I do feel like I'm carrying some responsibility, but I just really hope that I conduct myself in a really good way, that people are not offended by anything and can see me being me. And I don't want to have to change myself to fit in a certain profile.
Exactly.
But also, I'm hoping to inspire people and think, you know what, you may have kids and you may have a family, but try and juggle it. Don't feel like that's it. You got kids and your kids are your only priority in your life. You can try and balance it and
live for yourself as well.
Live for yourself and make your dreams come true. You can't make everything happen, but pick the couple of things that you want to do and just try and make it happen.
Yeah, that's so amazing.
Thanks.
Girl. Okay, let's talk about Golden Keys. How did it start? What was the process?
Okay, so yeah, really lovely story about that. So Raj started in the lettings business. I mentioned the £250 manually bought, really thriving business now. So really proud of him. And he said, like, what are we going to call this business? And he said, like, Chohan Estates. I was like, Raj, do not even think about that. We're not going to call it anything like that. Just think one day we're going to be so big. We don't want to have Chohan Estates everywhere. We need a name that's not like reflective of us. So he was like, well, what do you think? And actually my sister-in-law and brother-in-law have been really successful and they've got an international business that have done really well, Silver Door. And I was really inspired by them. And I said to Raj, I love their name. Like, what can we have of a spin-off? So I changed Silver to Golden and I changed Door to Key. I was like, Golden Key.
It worked.
And it worked. And then I remember at the time, we didn't, like now you have WhatsApp groups. We have WhatsApp groups. And I couldn't get everybody on their mobile texting individually. There was no WhatsApp back then either. So I said to my family, because I knew they were all at work, I sent a group email and I said, these are the few names, and Golden Key was in there. And everyone's like, I really like Golden Key. Yeah. And that became my name.
Oh, amazing.
Yes, I love our name, Golden Key.
I love it. There's something about it. It just sticks. I was actually thinking about back in school, we were never taught anything about getting a house, mortgages, finance, even like, you know, I took accounting. We were never still taught about real life finances. So I want you to kind of give our young viewers some sort of advice. What are some tips that they can take throughout their life?
Okay, so a couple of things. I know you touched on about education and things. I unfortunately have to resonate and be one of those oldies right now. Education matters. So I do believe in going out, enjoying your life and taking opportunities, but get as higher education as possible for your ability. I'm not saying you should be straight A stars, but you have to be your best. Don't feel like you need to be a school quitter. Get as further in your education as possible and take opportunities. Then, again, listen to your parents. I know that I'm going to sound like I've said all the wrong things to the youngsters, but listen to your parents. Your parents are only going to give you the best guidance. Take their support, save your money, avoid renting, try and get on the property ladder, get yourself a buy-to-let if you have to as the first property, get the investment, start learning what it's like to have a mortgage, paying it out. Sometimes your rent may not come in. Have you got the money for the mortgage? Start learning that, understanding your bills that your parents pay. It's a bit of a journey, but get onto that property ladder as quickly as you can. That's probably my biggest advice. You don't need to go straight into a £500,000 house just because the other thing is don't look at other people and try and replicate what they're doing.
Yeah.
your journey, your road, don't compare yourself. You do what's right for you and your family only. I think when you start seeing, like the pressure of, oh, someone's got married, so-and-so's got married, I should be married. They've got a car, I want a car. Mm-hmm. Try and avoid taking leases out. Buy what you can afford to buy. Mm-hmm. Try and delay gratification in those early years. Mm-hmm. Have fun. But I would say try and have a couple of things. It's not a case of every Friday I want to go out. Mm-hmm. I want to wear all the designer gears. I want to have the nice cars and a nice house. Just focus on a couple of things. Maybe have the nice car. Maybe save on the clothes and things. Mm-hmm. And maybe build up for the nice house. That's still an asset. And try and stay focused in your own lane. Save. I know all the boring things, but I'll tell you one thing. There's no fast road to property. Getting onto property and growing successfully financially, it comes step by step, brick by brick. And I think that's it. There's no shortcut to it. So the sooner you can start, the better.
They need to be teaching this in schools. I don't know whether they are now, but back when I was in school, they taught us nothing. We've all had to learn from Google, and now people have people like you on social media that I think really helps.
Yeah, I think what's a little bit dangerous is the people that are really promoting youngsters to get onto property are probably misleading, and I think that's where I'm a little bit nervous. Mm-hmm. So I very rarely do. You won't see my social media. I won't be saying, so-and-so's doing this rate, this is how much you can borrow. I just think, go to a trusted advisor, whether you trust me or trust somebody else. Get advice that's tailored for you. Mm-hmm. Don't just hear buzzwords, just because somebody's doing a rate of, I don't know, in this current market, 4.5%, that doesn't mean it's the deal for you. Mm-hmm. It doesn't mean, if you may be able to borrow 150 grand with that lender, but you may be able to, for a rate of 4.9, a little bit more expensive, borrow double the amount. You just don't know. Yeah. So it's not a rate you need. Actually, it's probably the maximum borrowing. Yeah. So that's why I'm very reluctant to put that information out there, because I think it can be misleading. I'll always say, go to an advisor, somebody you trust, speak to them, follow their guidance. And I'm really fortunate. Everybody in my client bank that I've got, I've grown on a journey with them. I would say 95% of them haven't left me.
Amazing.
It's because I'm on the journey and I know what their goal is. I've understood what the goal is. The goal isn't just buying the house. It's actually, I bought this house. I actually want to repay that much off. At the same time, within the next 6 years, I want to get 2 buy-to-lets. Mm-hmm. I'm hoping to have a child by this stage. And then at maybe year 10, I want to upscale. So every time I have a conversation with them, every 2-3 years, I know how further they've got in their journey. Or sometimes they may not have moved, but it's a case of now, where are we going to go with this? How are we moving? But it's about understanding the journey. It's not a case of just putting a deal through. I can get you the cheapest rate.
You're actually building relationships with your clients also.
Absolutely,
which is amazing.
Yeah, helping them on their journeys.
Love it. So now it's time for a game. So this is Quickfire with Nay. We're going to get right into it.
Brilliant.
You're hosting a dinner. You can have 5 dinner guests. I feel like I already know the first one. Dead or alive, who are you picking?
5 dinner guests. Oh, okay. Got to put Lord Sugar on there. Karen and Tim. Yeah. Right. Got to bring the whole boardroom in. Who else is going to be there? Oh my God. Rihanna and Beyonce.
Amazing. Okay. Do you prefer home cooked food or eating out?
I like dining out. Yes.
Yep. All right. Favorite restaurant?
At the moment, it probably is Miller and Carter.
Nice.
Yeah.
Love a steak.
Yes.
Okay. Your dream person that you could help mortgage broken?
It could be Lord Sugar. Lord Sugar, do you want to go bigger and better?
Okay, so do you remember Men in Black?
Yes.
Do you remember the clicky eraser?
Oh, God, is it the sales thing?
No.
Click eraser, no, I don't.
Okay, anyway, so if you had the eraser, which moment from The Apprentice would you erase?
I don't really want to highlight it, but probably when I was drinking the wine and
the wine tasting.
Wine tasting, yeah. And what I was trying to remember not to do about the sampling, I'm not going to repeat it, but yeah, if I could erase that comment, I'd like to erase it.
Okay. The weirdest food combination that you enjoy?
Should I tell you what I had once? It was actually quite funny. I really enjoyed it. I was on a bit of a protein boost, but I wanted to get a bit of veg in there as well. I had boiled eggs in sarg, and I actually really liked it.
Boiled eggs in sarg?
Yeah. It's actually a really good protein boost. So that's quite quirky, yeah. But
did you come up with this concoction yourself?
Well, no, it's because I needed my protein. My protein was really low. My mother-in-law, my mum had bought sarg.
Yeah.
I wanted to eat the sarg, but I needed my protein, so I thought I'll stick the eggs in the sarg. It was the best combo ever.
Okay, guys, if you try the boiled eggs and sarg combo, let us know if it bangs. I think that could be like in the definitely top 3 weirdest combinations I've ever heard. Oh my God, I wasn't expecting that. Okay, what do you think is the worst quality about yourself?
Distraction. Mm-hmm. So I can be talking to you and then I look at something and then conversation's finished, I'm focused on that. And then you think, oh, I'm in the middle of a cut, and then I've moved on to something else. Yeah, it's probably my attention span's probably the most annoying thing.
What's your guilty pleasure?
Too many, but basically, I'm a bit of a foodie and a bit of a junkie.
Nice.
Too much chocolate, too many crisps. Oh my God. So I do have binges on the night, and I'm trying to work on it. I had a bit of hypnosis as well to try and help me stop eating. Yeah. And she goes, no. She goes, you just look at the dopamine. She goes, you need to get your dopamine from somewhere else. She goes, it's not hypnosis. So she goes, well, what else do you get a buzz from? I was like, playing games on my phone. She was like, okay, do more of that. Get to the gym. So they say it's not good to go to the gym at night because it keeps you awake. She goes, for you, it's probably the right thing. Yeah. It's for your dopamine hit.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
so learning a lot about myself.
That is amazing.
Thanks.
Okay, favourite crisps?
Something good crisps. Walkers.
Classic. Okay, favourite childhood movie?
I'd say Little Mermaid.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, Little Mermaid. And Home Alone, classic.
Classic.
Yeah, Home Alone. Love Home Alone. I could watch it again, over and over again. I wouldn't watch anything else, but I'd watch that over.
Okay, Home Alone 1 or Home Alone 2? Which
one?
Really?
The original.
I always prefer the second one. I don't know what it is about it.
Oh, no, definitely the first one.
Okay. What is your biggest ick?
People have challenges in their life, and I accept that. We've all got challenges. It's that blame culture and not taking accountability. Yeah. You know, when people say, oh, that's happened to me because of so-and-so. I can't do this because that happened to me. Yeah. If you can recognise it, then change it. I don't understand. If you can recognise what's caused it, then change it. So that's probably it. I think people need to take more accountability.
Yeah, I agree with that one. Okay, favourite singer?
Favourite singer? God, I'm not really a singer person either. Probably Rihanna at the moment. I do love Rihanna.
I love a bit of Riri. Yeah. Okay. Skincare routine?
Don't ask about that. Don't look at I hope you're not zooming in on my skin, please. But yeah, at the moment it's simple face wash. And then I'm using some of Amina products at the moment, which is great. But Nivea on my skin, and on the night I use her face oil. Yeah. So Amina's face oil is incredible. So I'm not paid to promote it, but honestly,
it is good.
It's brilliant for sleep, and my skin feels so hydrated. I wake up in the morning and it still feels baby smooth, so it feels fantastic.
And the Nivea, I've seen on TikTok recently, a lot of people are doing their grandma's skincare routine, and all of them have Nivea in there.
I don't know.
So apparently Nivea is like the key to amazing skin.
But the blue top one is quite thick, but that's what I need. I feel like it holds in a lot of moisture.
Tips, guys? Okay. Favourite moment from The Apprentice?
I've got a lot of favourite moments, so it's hard to just pick one. I definitely loved being in the boardroom. Maybe it's because I was winning. Maybe on the firing one, not so much. But I loved so much of it. It's hard to pick one, but I'd probably say my Budapest trip was incredible. And I think by then I was so exhausted in the process, and I was just like the competing was really getting tougher and tougher. And I just thought, you know what? I want to have some fun. And because we're out of the country as well, it was actually the best thing for us, because we ended up selling really well just because we were having fun. And then with more in the morning and in the afternoon with Flo was incredible. With the white taste, got a bit carried away, as you can see. But it was brilliant. And I ended up having to sleep it off. I was just like, I can't go and do a masterclass. So I was like, no, Raj, we're absolutely fine. I was like, you don't look it. Well, you can stay awake. I'll go for half an hour nap. So I went and slept in the taxi before we delivered the masterclass.
Oh,
which was brilliant. God. But yeah, it was a really great experience.
Okay, last question of the quick fire.
Yeah.
Most famous person in your contact list?
Oh, probably Tim Campbell.
Wow.
Yeah. Tim, yeah.
Tim.
We had Gordon Orgel at my house. He's very, very famous, but unfortunately I don't have his
So
mobile.
casual. Yeah, go Nord, I'm just at my house.
They came to my house, but I don't have his number. But I'm sure if I asked for it, I couldn't get it. But it'd be a bit weird for me to just randomly text him.
How did that happen? How did it end up at your house?
So Raj fell a bit poorly at the beginning of the year, just as we came on to The Apprentice. And he heard and he said, like, I'm going to be coming to the UK, so I'm going to take a visit to see Raj. So he came to see Raj, yeah.
How lovely of him.
We're in the kitchen going, where can we get a photo? And he's like, like, Raj, how are you feeling and stuff? And Raj's like, yeah, fine. I was like, kids, who's taking the saucing? Who's taking the trying? And he was like, and he's getting all fit at the moment. He's like trying to really be good with his food. And he's like, I'm not going to have some. So I was like, sorry, you can't go to our house and have some.
You need some.
He was like, all right then, I'll just have the one, with the
I'll just have one. Oh my God.
So lovely. And then I was there. So Paul, you watch in the living room, everyone's come to do cover with him because he's not very well. And then me, Garam and Amra, the mom in the kitchen, we're all there going, oh my
God, I love that.
Yeah, so I was just like, and I was all wearing my slippers. Let me just kick my slippers to the side.
Put the heels on. Karen's coming.
Well, obviously my socks for mine. But yeah, no, it was great.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so he's probably the most famous person I've met other than Lord Sugar. Yeah. But yeah, I don't have his number, unfortunately.
Oh, one day.
Yeah. It'd be a bit weird for me to have his number, to be fair.
You might sell him a house.
Yeah, I was like, well, he
might
did
him.
want me to come and sell out his tour, and I was like, no problem, just let me know. No, he didn't really, but...
Manifested it. We're manifesting it. Okay, so how can people get in touch with you? How can they get your help? Let them know.
Contact me on Instagram. That's probably the best way. I'm very, very active on there. I will see messages come through. But one thing I would say is, don't just send me hi. Give me some context. Give me as much information as possible. And obviously not your personal details or anything, but just about what you're looking to do. And then what I'll do is I will diarise the time to give you a call or send you an email with more information or get one of my colleagues to give you a call.
Amazing. It's been absolutely brilliant having you here. Thank you so much for everything.
No worries. Thank you very much for having me.
Of course. And we hope to see you soon. Guys, that is all for today, but you can catch me again next week at the same time.